Hello, puppies and kittens, and welcome back to Reading Joseph Smith, where we're plundering through our novella, our great adventure story of the Jewish Indians in South America that may be Missouri. We don't really know. And anybody got any opening comments?
We get to finish another book.
Yeah, and I thought it was cool that you guys finally figured out that Mormon started from a King Mormon, good old Malik Mormon. That was pretty cool.
Malik Mormon?
Malik Mormon. We got to give him a Jewish flair or Arabic flair or something.
There you go. I dig it.
King Mormon the Malachite.
And we are joined by Brian, Mr. Deity Dalton. How do you do, sir?
Oh.
Hey guys, can you hear me? Is this good?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, we can hear you. Well, they may be able to hear you. I can't because I have fucking dogs who won't shut up. Sorry.
My doggies are gone for the weekend. They have to go to their mommies because we have fireworks galore.
All right, so we are
on the 4th.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. When dogs are convinced that the world is about to end.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So, Bryce, you want to tell us anything about this chapter? Do we need to know any kind of forward?
Well, I mean, this is basically just getting us into the Book of Alma, and we got introduced to like the most central figure to the Book of Alma, which is Alma the Younger. Last time he had his whole fainting experience, and his soul was racked with torment for 3 days. So now, like this chapter basically exists to hand the book off to Alma.
Is everybody else hearing Bryce well enough? Because he seems to be.
Is it really quiet? Let me increase my volume a little bit here.
There you go.
All right.
Always turn it up.
My bad. All right. Yeah. So we are. Yeah. This book is basically, or this chapter is going to basically transition us into the Book of Alma, and I am not looking forward to Alma. I think no person ever looks forward to Alma. It is an awful grind of a book. So
Woo.
Or we'll be in it for like the next year on this show, probably.
Oh, gee. Okay. Well, silly voices for all readers then. All right. And speaking of which, who is reading today?
I have to find the Book of Mormon online. Where do I go? Just Mormon.org or whatever. What do you do?
I've got siteChurchofJesusChrist.org study. I'm gonna throw a link at you, Brian.
Yeah.
And this ought to help.
Yeah.
Since I'm anti-Rustyite, I have a 1830s Book of Mormon, so I don't know where.
Very cool.
We lost our deity.
Well, deities are like that.
Yeah. Leaving and showing up whenever they want.
Yep.
All right. Did you get that link, Brian? I put it in the side chat as well.
Yes. So hold on.
And since we haven't seen Brian in a bit, would you like to read?
This is Mosiah,
Yep.
29. Is that where we are? Mosiah
That's
29?
where we are.
All right, hold on. Let me pull this out to the side 1 second. Okay, there we go. All right. Now, when Mosiah had done this, he sent out throughout all the land among all the people, desiring to know their will concerning who should be their king. And it came to pass that the voice of the people came, saying, we are desirous that Aaron, thy son, not Aaron, thy son, should be our king and our ruler. And Aaron had gone up to the land of Nephi. Therefore, the king could not confer the kingdom upon him. Neither would Aaron take upon him the kingdom. Neither were any of the sons of Mosiah willing to take upon them the kingdom. Therefore, King Mosiah sent again among the people, yea, even a written word sent he among the people. And these were the words that were written, saying, behold, O ye my people, or my brethren, for I esteem you as such. I desire that ye should consider the cause which ye are called to consider, for ye are desirous to have a king. Now I declare unto you that he to whom the kingdom doth rightly belong has declined, and will not take upon him the kingdom. And now if there should be another appointed in his stead. Behold, I fear there would rise contentions among you. And who knoweth but what my son, to whom the kingdom doth belong, should turn to be angry and draw away a part of his people after him, which would cause wars and contentions among you, which would be the cause of shedding much blood. Okay, and perverting the way of the Lord. Yea, and destroy the Lord's. Yeah, everybody got to join with me. Yay! We could do a Tom Slick, or what was that? The on the Rocky and Bullwinkle show, was that Tom Slick, the race car driver? Who every time he would drive by, the whole crowd would go, "Yay!" A very incredibly unenthusiastic yay, yay, and destroy the souls of many. Yay, yeah, exactly, yay. Right. Very funny. Now I say unto you, I really do, let us be wise and consider these things, for we have no right to destroy my son, neither should we have any right to destroy another if he should be appointed in his stead. And if my son should turn again to his pride and vain things, he would recall the things which he had said and claim his right to the kingdom, which would cause him and also his people to commit much sin. And now let us be wise and look forward to these things and do that which will make for the peace of this people. Therefore, I will be your king and remainder of my days. Nevertheless, let us appoint judges to judge this people according to our law. And we will newly arrange the affairs of this people, for we will appoint wise men to be judges that will judge this people according to the commandments of God. Now, it is better that a man should be judged of God than of man, for the judgments of God are always just, but the judgments of man are not always just. It's pretty obvious.
Can I just make a comment real quick on the king thing? It seems really weird on hindsight, especially now that history has come to pass and things have come out, like the minutes of the Council of the 50 and things. That, you know, you had Brigham Young, Joseph Smith, James Strang, all of these early Mormon prophets declared themselves king of the world. And I always thought kings were kind of bad when I read the Book of Mormon as a little kid. So it just seems kind of strange. I think.
Yeah, just a couple chapters ago, we had this whole speech about how kings are inferior to the priests. The priests get their authority from God, and kings have no say over any of it. And to be a king is an inferior position. So why would anyone want it?
Let's not forget that Leonardo DiCaprio and James Cameron did the same. So let's not fault them too much.
But look what happened to him.
Which one? At least
they
he
both
didn't.
kind of sank, but in different ways.
Yes, but at least James Cameron didn't get in a sub that imploded. Okay.
Oh, God.
Where am I? Where did we stop? I'm lost now.
I think verse 12. 13.
13. Therefore, if it were possible that you could have just men to be your kings, who would establish the laws of God and judge this people according to his commandments, yay!
Yay!
If ye could have men for your kings, who would do even as my father Benjamin did for this people, I say unto you, if this could always be the case, then it would be expedient that you should always have kings to rule over you.
So real quick, so the distinction that the book is making here is that a system, a government system that has kings is not an optimal system unless they're God kings. They have to be like you can have a monarchy, but it's never going to be like the best government system until you have a theocratic monarchy. So that's the point that the book is driving home.
There we
here.
go.
Which, hey, like, look, Mormons read this trying to take lessons away for like how can I apply this to my life today? And yeah, you know, that's
God King.
Yeah, just God King.
God King.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
right.
that's really what it's saying. The laws of men are fallible. When humans make decisions, it won't be justice. It has to come from God. So democracy bad.
God good. Yes. Aaron, you just made my day. Your
How
Great
so?
Pyrenees is so gorgeous, so beautiful.
Thank you so much. But he's
I
loud.
love I love those
Unfortunately,
dogs.
they're
so
all
much.
loud.
They're such great dogs. All right. And even I myself have labored with all the power and facilities which I have possessed to teach you the commandments of God and to establish peace throughout the land. And there should be no wars, nor contentions, nor stealing, nor plundering, nor murdering, nor any manner of iniquity. Exactly. That's my point.
Mhm.
Yep. Yep. That's what I say every time. And whosoever
up.
has committed iniquity, him have I punished according to the crime which he has committed, according to the law which has been given to us by our fathers. Now I say unto you that because all men are not just, it is not expedient that you should have a king or kings to rule over you. Let me scooch this up. For behold, how much iniquity doth one wicked king cause to be committed. Yay!
Yay!
Let's hear it from the choir. Yay! And what great destruction. Yea, remember King
Yay.
Noah. Hold on, I forgot to put my thing on. Do not disturb. Okay, there we go. Yea, remember King Noah. Oh, Noah, that guy was an asshole, right? The one with the ship that didn't let anybody on. Okay, his
different Noah.
wickedness.
This is the
Oh,
Book of
different
Mormon
Noah.
Noah.
Okay,
He was
all
also
right,
an
gotcha,
asshole,
gotcha,
right?
King Noah.
They're all kind
Yeah.
of dicks, yeah.
Yeah. And now remember King Noah, his wickedness and his abominations, and also the wickedness and abominations of his people. Behold, what great destruction did come upon them. And also because of their iniquities, they were brought into bondage.
Giggity.
And were it not for the interposition, wow, that's a big word for the Book of Mormon, the interposition of their all-wise creator, and this because of their sincere repentance, they must unavoidably remain in bondage until now.
Giggity.
I mean, Brian, you make a very good point there. The interposition as being like a big word for the Book of Mormon. I do want to point out that, like, this is once again a totally different writing style than the previous like 9 chapters that we've read. Like, this is like functionally the word usage is totally different, and it's even more apparent to me because I'm reading the comparative, right? So I'm comparing the original manuscript to the actual modern day version, and the number of typos in this chapter is way more on an order of magnitude more typos this chapter than in the previous chapter. So it seems as if they finished up to Mosiah, what is Mosiah 13 in the original, and then this is Mosiah 14 here that we're reading. It's 29 in the modern day, but this was clearly, like, this appears to me that they had finished up to Mosiah 13, and somebody was like, all right, we got to write a transition chapter to get into Alma. It just very it's just so very different from most of the things we've read up to this point. And like, and it says all wise creator. That terminology is almost never used in the Book of Mormon to refer to God. It always says Lord, God, Jesus Christ. it uses very blunt terminology. So the term all-wise creator just making an appearance here apropos of nothing, that leads me to believe once again it's a different author.
Unless it's one of those mystery cult things. Right?
Like, I haven't been able to hear the last 5 minutes because the dogs have been barking at each other, and the parrot and the parrot just took off flying. We have a new boxer puppy, and he doesn't know that the parrot is sacred. You're not supposed to. So the parrot took off flying, and the puppy went out after it, and the other dogs are barking. Oh, no. I'm glad I've been on mute this whole time. Where are we?
The circus going.
we're discussing the sudden surge in vocabulary in the book.
Yeah, the writing style is so much different, and we haven't even had a came to pass yet.
Yeah,
and I even have a beer for the first time.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't notice that. That's interesting.
We have, there's no and it came to passes, and the sentence breaks that are now verse breaks, most of them start with for behold and now I say unto you, or yea remember, but behold and behold for behold. So like it's just no and it came to pass. It feels so weird, right? Like I'm not the only person that's like getting a sense that this feels like a different author.
There's a lot of beholds going on here.
Yeah.
Is there any scholarship on this? Do you know?
I'm sure that Royal Skousen has noted different authorship on this, but Skousen is like the foremost authority on the Book of Mormon manuscripts, and he would just say, "Oh, well, this was clearly just abridged from a different record," and blah blah blah. Oh, this was whatever the historian was compiling. This was just handed off to them for a brief time before the plates were handed to Alma.
Okay.
I think that would probably be his argument. I haven't read his books because fuck that. I don't care about Book of Mormon scholarship.
He's a Skousen too, so that's really
he's a Skousen, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It
All
seems
right.
funny that there could even be Book of Mormon scholarship.
Yeah.
Is it like Harry Potter scholarship?
I'm
sure there
chalk
will
it up
be,
with like a Christian Scientist.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to read
very
a
much
couple of
is.
comments here. The Raven 200 offers $5 and says, "My favorite part of Noah's Ark is when all the carnivores patiently wait for their prey to repopulate before eating them."
Yep. Very
Yeah,
nice.
that's fair. Then Minute Rice offers $6.66 and says, "And it came to pass that I, Minute Rice, did bribe Aaron to get a snake out."
Doesn't take any bribing, I don't think.
That's fair.
And then the Raven 200 offers $5 again and says, "It just wouldn't be a show with Aaron Raw if his dogs didn't interrupt."
That's true.
That's right. That's right.
That's true. That's
Okay.
true. All right.
Shut up!
It's God to live in a dog.
Oh, my Greyhound and my Havanese are so mellow. Not that they're here, but all right. So but behold, is that where I'm at? Am I at 20?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yep.
But behold, he did deliver them because they did humble themselves before him. And because they cried mightily unto him, he did deliver them out of bondage. And thus doth the Lord work with his power in all cases among the children of men, extending the arm of mercy towards, I'm getting punch drunk, them that put their trust in him. But behold, now I say unto you, ye cannot dethrone an iniquitous king, save it be through much contention and the shedding of much blood. For behold,
Nice.
he has his friends in iniquity, and he keepeth his guards about him, and he teareth up the laws of those who have reigned in righteousness before him, and he trampleth under his feet the commandments of God. It's
sounds like
hard to read
prophecy.
this shit. It's very hard to read this crap. And he enacteth laws and sendeth them forth among his people. Yay!
Yeah.
Hear it, chorus. Yay! Okay.
Yeah.
Laws after the manner. There we go. Laws after a little less enthusiasm next time. Laws after the manner of his own wickedness, and whosoever doth not obey his laws, he causeth to be destroyed. And whoso doth rebel against him, he will send his armies against them to war. And if he can, he will destroy them. And thus an unrighteous king doth pervert the ways of all righteousness. And now behold, I say unto you, it is not expedient that such abominations should come upon you.
And by the way,
Therefore-
this anti-king screed right here, this is so quintessentially like post-revolution America rhetoric. Like this is so very much like just appropriating rhetoric that was used to talk about having a president that is elected democratically instead of having a king that is inherited or appointed or whatever. So yeah, very, very interesting that this is very much a hallmark of the early 19th century.
Yeah.
And you are
Therefore,
I have to wonder how this is put together too. The way the Bible has all of the verses numbered. I don't think that that the way the Bible was written that it would have had the numbers in there. I think somebody went on later and decided to number those verses when they translated to a different language. But this book clearly was written with the numbers already in it because they think that's how the Word of God is supposed to be written.
No,
right?
no. It's just
No,
straight
no.
through. In fact, the
Really?
Paragraphs.
in fact, the earliest ones didn't even have periods or commas and stuff. It was just like automatic writing. Like you just straight through, like
the original manuscript.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm
Yeah, the
reading
original
from
manuscript.
that
Okay, so
manuscript.
not only do
Yeah.
they not have numbers,
There's
they didn't have
no
punctuation.
no, the
No
typescript.
punctuation. No, I mean they capitalize some words, but they're totally at random. So yeah,
That's an interesting point because it was the typescripter that put those in. So,
correct.
And so it was actually, he was the one that was putting in all the prophetic where the thing should be. Some layman, like typescripter guy
Yep, John
at the
Gilbert.
printing
Just-
press. Yeah.
Okay, that was unexpected.
Yep.
Joseph didn't believe in punctuation. Thought it was sinful.
It is not expedient to punctuate.
And so he was
wrote
late to everything. But
Yeah, but that's not bad.
But it's just interesting because the God is now here, God is nowhere thing, you know, it's like something can say something completely different depending on the punctuation. So
Absolutely.
It's just weird.
I wrote a character years ago in a movie that who didn't believe in silent letters, so he would pronounce all the silent letters. It was Tug.
He was a gnostic.
Little Jim. Yeah, he was a gnostic. Yes. Where am I? 24?
20,
Yes,
24,
I
25,
think so.
somewhere around there.
Yes.
And now, behold, I say unto you, it is not expedient that such abominations should come upon you. Therefore, choose you by the voice of this people judges, that ye may be judged according to the laws which have been given to you, given you by our fathers, which are correct, and which were given them by the hand of the Lord. Now it is not common that the voice of the people desireth anything contrary to that which is right. But it is, yeah, that's,
Yeah,
That
right.
checks out.
we all know that, right? That, duh. Of course, the people want always what's right. Where am I? Shit, where did I go?
26.
You were in the middle of 26.
Okay. But it is common for the lesser part of the people to desire that which is not right. Therefore, this shall ye observe and make it your law to do your business by the voice of the people. This is kind of interesting to me because this kind of runs contrary to the American idea of a representative republic and human rights being enshrined at the constitutional level that can't be messed with. Is anyone else?
Yeah.
I'm confused that the law is to do your business by the voice of the people. I thought the law is to do your business outside, not on the rug.
Yes, that's true too.
And
Yes.
be sure to wipe on the carpet first. But yeah, it's kind of talking about direct democracy. You know, two wolves
Yes.
and a sheep voting on what to have for dinner kind of stuff.
Right.
Well, and I think also what we're about to get into is the reign of judges. Like we're about to elect judges, and that comes to be like the prevailing governmental authority from this time forward. But this is something that is also written so deeply within the context of the early 19th century because 1805 Marbury versus Madison was decided, that basically the Supreme Court designated what or its own powers based on a very vague terminology that they were crafted from the Constitution. That was the first time that the Supreme Court basically said, all right, this is our authority, and if you don't like it, well, this is our authority. You can try and challenge us with the balance of powers. So this the idea or the concept in a lot of people's minds, in early 19th century religious people, was that yes, our Constitution itself is secular. However, if we appoint righteous judges to reign over us, elect people who will put into place kings who will fill a Supreme Court with people who are led by righteousness, who are Christian, of course, then they will be the most righteous rulers. They will be the ones who will dictate the course of the country, and they are, well, and in some cases, as we've seen, they are more powerful than the president, and in this case, more powerful than the kings throughout the rest of this book. So this is another 19th century America, America's awesome screed.
A lot of it is political commentary and the way things should be.
Correct.
Right.
Yep.
It would be interesting to look over this part with the comparison with the late Great War of 1812, because it seems like maybe there would be more comparative pieces with that. Bryce could.
I didn't find much. I found like the engrams that matched up were not. They were word matches, word pairings. They were not idea pairings very well.
Oh, I see.
All right. And if the time comes that the voice of the people doth choose iniquity, then is the time that the judgments of God will come upon you. Yay. Then it is the time.
Oh.
There we go. Then it is the time he will visit you with great destruction, even as he hitherto visited this land. And now, if ye have judges, and they do not judge you according to the law which has been given you, ye can cause that they may be judged of a higher judge. If your higher
It's judges all the way down.
We're gonna
judges
appeal.
all the way down. If your higher judges do not judge righteous judgments, ye shall cause that a small number of your lower judges should be gathered together, and they shall judge your higher judges according to the voice of the people. Wow, this is getting complicated.
Well, if you want to hire higher judges, just move them from 9 to 15.
There you go.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
The passage in 27 is interesting because it seems to be an explanation of how you bring about Judgment Day. So now we know why Jesus is taking so long, because nobody's triggered the prophecy.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And we don't have we haven't passed nationwide marijuana legalization, which would give us the higher judges.
Hell yeah.
Oh, that was a bad joke. That was such a bad joke. I'm sorry. I
Delta
apologize,
9
everyone.
just doesn't cut it, I guess.
Yes. Yes. Am I on 30 now? Where did I go?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. And I command you to do these things in the fear of the Lord, and I command you to do these things, and that ye have no king, that if these people commit sins and iniquities, they shall be answered upon their own heads. You know, maybe this is our problem nowadays, is we don't have leaders who command us to do things. That's what we really need.
Yeah, this is also fascinating for another reason, because the king is saying, mortal authority is going to change and be more democratic, and the actual king is going to absent himself and never be seen again. And that's kind of a metaphor for the God situation, right? He shows up, hands down a bunch of laws, and then poof, we never frickin' see him again.
Right.
I
Right.
dig it.
Right. The invisible silverback, as Doug calls him from Pine Creek. For behold, I say unto you. Oh, I got the ice cream man coming. I gotta run real quick. I'll be back in a few.
It's like
For behold,
Jimmy.
I say
For the
unto
whole
you.
class.
It really was the ice cream man. And now, let's see, where am I? And now I desire that this inequality should be no more in this land, especially among this my people. Well, that didn't work out very well, at least as a prophecy. But I desire that this land be a land of liberty, and every man may
A
enjoy
land of liberty.
his rights and privileges alike. Yes, we're all laughing. So long as the Lord sees fit that we may live and inherit the land. Yay!
Yay!
Even as long as any of our prosperity remains upon the face of the land. And many more things did King Mosiah write unto them, unfolding unto them all the trials and troubles of a righteous king. Yea,
Yay!
all the travails of soul for their people, and also all the murmurings of the people to their king. And he explained it all unto them. Well,
But
that's
we don't
nice
need
of
to
him.
hear any of that.
Yeah, of course.
No, that's
well,
not
relevant.
important. That's not important. Yeah. And he told them that these things ought not to be, but that the burden should come upon all the people, that every man might bear his part.
So,
That sounds like socialism.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Verse 33 tells us he wrote a whole bunch more stuff, and then he explained all of it. And then 34 is like, and then the burden that these things ought not to be. What things? Why didn't he tell us the things that ought not to be? Write it down. Write it down, Joe. Whatever this awesome, mysterious shit that Mosiah wrote down, tell us so we can know what ought not to be.
Show your work, damn you.
That's one of the
We
funniest
just-
parts in the Pearl of Great Price too, is how it'll be like, oh, not to be revealed at this time, or I
Yeah.
love that stuff.
It's like we turned the page, got to the last page of the book, and that page was ripped out. So we're just all, we got to make something up now. And he also unfolded unto them all the disadvantages they labored under by having an unrighteous king to rule over them. Yea, all his iniquities and
Yay.
abominations. Yea, sorry. I got to give you space.
See what we
Yea,
started?
all his iniquities and abominations, and all the wars and contentions and bloodshed, and the stealing and the plundering and the committing of whoredoms. Hey, let's not knock my hobbies.
Hey.
And all manner of iniquities which cannot be enumerated, telling them that these things ought not to be, that they were expressly repugnant to the commandments of the Lord. And now it came to pass.
Hold up. Yep.
It came to pass.
We got the new writer back. We got rid of the new writer, and we're back to square one.
Right. Right.
We fired that guy. He left out half the damn book.
Drink. And now it came to pass, after King Mosiah had sent these things forth among the people, they were convinced of the truth of his words, which always happens, right? Some guy gets up, gives a speech, and we all just go, yeah, that's perfect. That makes
We say,
perfect
yay.
sense.
Yeah, those are
There
words.
was much rejoicing.
Yes. Therefore, they relinquished their desires for a king. Of course they did. And became exceedingly anxious. And every man should have an equal chance throughout all the land. Yay!
Yay.
Yay.
And every man expressed a willingness to answer for his own sins.
Oh, that's believable too.
It's always
Yeah.
so interesting when like the dying king is like writing a final manifesto before he dies. Is like, you shouldn't have any more king. Ugh, there you go.
Like a scribble.
I fucked everything up. I'm sorry.
Therefore, they relinquished their desire. Oh, I read, did I? Yeah. Okay. Therefore, it came to pass that they assembled
Right.
themselves together in bodies throughout the land to cast in their voices concerning who should be their judges. And Dominion, the voting company, sent all of this to Hugo Chavez to judge them according to the law which had been given them. And they were exceedingly rejoiced because of the liberty which had been granted unto them. And they did wax strong in love towards Mosiah. Wow.
Oh my.
No one's
feel
ever
that.
waxed. I don't think anyone's ever waxed strong toward me, or even. I don't know if
you
maybe
Not
gotta
even in
wax
love?
on and then wax off.
I think I've had some weak waxing, but never any
No,
strong
that,
waxing. That's
you're
so
thinking
sad.
of wanking.
Oh, that's what it is. Well, that's good because I'm a delicate flower. So
Lotion works too. So
yeah. Yea, they did
Yay.
esteem him more than any other man. Yeah, oh yay. They did esteem him more than any other man, for they did not look upon him as a tyrant who was seeking for gain. Yay.
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 nice.
Yeah, for
We're the
that
best
lucre
choir.
if only we could get our tempo together, that would be awesome. For that lucre which doth corrupt the soul, for he had not extracted riches of them, neither had he delighted in the shedding of blood, but he had established peace in the land, and he had granted unto his people that they should be delivered from all manner of bondage.
Boo.
Therefore, they did esteem him. Yay.
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 Exceedingly beyond measure. And it came to pass, we're right back to it, that they did
Right back.
appoint judges to rule over them, or to judge them according to the law. And this they did throughout all the land, thanks to
Okay.
Marbury versus Madison.
Yeah,
And
right.
it came to pass that Alma was appointed to be the first chief judge, he being
Nice.
also the high priest. Oh, that's what we want, right?
Mm.
His father having conferred the office upon him, and having given him the charge concerning all the affairs of the church.
I'm sorry. Okay,
Whoa,
so
that's
now
all
we're talking-
added.
Hang on. Okay, so yeah,
Holy crap.
in a second. This is they are deciding that we're not going to do kings anymore. Instead, we're going to elect our own judges. And the first judge is the son of the prophet, who is the new prophet, who was appointed there by the king.
Yep.
That's the first chief judge. No more kings. I'm dead. Here you go. Here's my
Well,
manifesto.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean,
just change the title.
It's not a king anymore. I wonder if this is what inspired Mussolini, right? Because that whole trains run on time thing. If the 2:30 train shows up at 4:15, they change the clock so it reads 2:30 because the train has to be on time definitionally. Same sort of thing here. We don't have any kings, but here's this high priest who inherited his role from his father, who will now rule over you. But it's not a king, though, I swear.
We
They
call
just,
him El Presidente.
They changed the crown for a robe. That makes it all
There you go.
better.
And a big poofy hat.
Oh shoot!
a big
I've lost my place again. Where
Boo-hoo
am I?
moment here.
I think it was 42.
Three.
Oh, but we were supposed to talk about, there was like a whole
yeah.
paragraph taken out, wasn't there?
Yes.
I was
I'm
following
not-
along, and then
I
yeah,
don't
there was
see
like
the
a whole
paragraph.
paragraph that wasn't in mine,
What are you talking
or a
about?
sentence. I thought there was a whole sentence that wasn't in mine.
Oh, in the original.
That's what I thought. Maybe
Well, I
just
think what
lost
happened
my
was
place.
you got halfway through 42, and then somebody else jumped in, and that may be why you're confused.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, so
And it came to
ca-
pass that Alma did
What was
walk
that?
in the ways of the Lord, and he did keep his commandments, and he did judge righteous judgments, and there was continual peace through the land. And thus commenced the reign of the judges through all the land of Zarahemla. Wow, I can't believe I remembered how to pronounce that right off the bat. Among all the people who were called the Nephites, and Alma was the first and chief judge. And now it came to pass that his father died, being 82 years old, having lived to fulfill the commandments of God. And it came to pass that Mosiah died also. By the way, isn't that just an anachronism for the I mean, maybe not such a huge anachronism, but people living to 82, and where are we at now? Are we like into the 200 BC period? Where?
well, at
Yeah,
least we're not
we're-
living for hundreds of years now.
Yes, that's true. That's true. Okay.
And it came to pass that Mosiah
And now-
in 46.
And now it came to pass that Mosiah died also in the 33rd year of his reign, being 63 years old, making in the whole 509 years from the time Lehi left Jerusalem. Oh wow! So we're like 100 years before. Yeah.
Before the big J Dog shows up.
Big J Dog. And thus ended the reign of the kings over the people of Nephi, and thus ended the days of Alma, who was the founder of their church.
So thus ended the reign of the kings and began the reign of the theocrats. Not the autocrats,
Yeah.
but the theocrats, who are the same basic thing.
Yes.
And we have a different church. It's not the church. This is Alma's church.
Mm.
Yeah. Noah, the prophets of Noah they're probably still lost in the frickin' woods or whatever the hell was going on with them. And yeah,
Okay, so-
there's this big empire that the Zarahemlans are just kind of conquering by infiltration of priesty people, but that's cool too.
So, Bryce or whoever else wants to come in on this, I mean, I click over to the next chapter, which of course begins Alma, and it's structured differently, at least on this website. So now I've got a whole bunch of different chapters of a whole brand new book.
Yes, Alma
You just
is
have
what
to click
everybody
on that one.
dreads. Nobody wants to get through or get into Alma because it's huge. It is a pain, and
May-
yeah.
Maybe if we just make up a different person's name for each chapter, we can pretend it's a bunch of different books instead of one big one.
Me-
A wild Tomer has appeared.
Hello.
Oh, hey, Tomer.
It
Hi,
is
Tomer.
Except for me. Yes.
Are you
Our
here to help
savior.
us celebrate the end of Mosiah?
Yes.
Yeah, we need it, man.
Yeah.
So sick of
Uh,
those kings.
I planned to join on Alma 1, and so I did.
Okay, are you
Yep,
going to be
we made
reading
it.
Alma
Alma.
1?
I could.
Okay, before you do, let me read a couple of comments that have come up here. Frederick Agerbo offers 50 Danish kroner and says, I was tired of keeping track, so I read the Book of Mormon cover to cover in the last 4 weeks. This has now turned into trauma therapy for me. Keep it up. And then Mormon Skeptic
Frederick.
says, this chapter marks a change in how the people recorded time. They no longer counted from the time Lehi left Jerusalem. It is now counted from the beginning of the reign of the judges.
That's correct. Yes. I should also mention this, that somebody has been trying for the past like 6 or 7 years to get funding for basically a live action movie, feature length movie of the Book of Mormon, and it's titled The Reign of Judges. And it's a project that I want to see funded so much, because I would love to see some filmmaker dump tens or hundreds of millions of dollars into what they planned on, a 7-movie series that is the history of the Book of Mormon just acted out. And I want it so bad my teeth ache. But last I checked, they were like only barely over $1 million funded of their 40 million goal, and that was like 5-6 years ago. So I don't think anything new has come of it. But I just wish I want it so bad.
strange
They
that
cut a trailer
the
for it.
LDS
The trailer was
Church
great.
isn't behind that. You'd think they would want to make that a reality, you know?
You think it'd be a great, missionary tool.
Did anybody ever see Pathway to Zarahemla? That's a great Mormon film.
I think I did.
No.
Mormon Skeptic says it's a pretty important transition. I think Joe was trying to make it analogous to the birth of Christ and the change of measuring time.
I think that's a little too galaxy brain for this to actually. I think if they just decided to make the change narratively at this time for reasons unknown to us. I think that's putting way too much thought into it.
The Raven 200 then says, offers $10 and says, and it came to pass that I, Alma, did spake unto thee. Smack that, all on the floor. Smack that, give me some more. Smack that till you get sore. Smack that. Oh, wait, that's Akon and Eminem. I have no idea. I don't listen to a lot of not metal.
Fair and wise.
And then Mormon Skeptic says there was a movie version of the first book of Nephi released in 2003. It's grade A shit.
Name? I want to know the name of this. I want to watch it.
It's hard to
I'm just
overcome
wondering
it's
if
that
called the
it's
Book
John
of Mormon.
Travolta.
Is it? Huh. Are there
It
any
was a Book of
B-list
Mormon
actors in
film.
it that I might
Donny
recognize?
Osmond.
It's all B-list. It's more like C or D list.
No, he was an executive producer of it.
The thing about
would
shit
believe
is I
that.
can't tell the grade A from the grade F. I really can't. It's hard.
Yeah.
Okay, Tomer, you wanna
Yes.
tackle this?
Yeah, sure thing. Sure thing.
Alma.
Suffer more. Okay, verse 1. Okay. Now it came to pass that in the first year of the reign of the judges over the people of Nephi, from this time forward, King Mosiah having gone the way of all the earth, having warred a good warfare, walking uprightly before God, leaving none to reign in his stead. Nevertheless, he had established laws, and they were acknowledged by the people. Therefore, they were obliged to abide by the laws which he had made. And it came to pass that in the first year of the reign of Alma in the judgment seat, there was a man brought before him to be judged. A man who was large and was noted for his much strength. And he had
Was his name Samson? Did he have long hair?
Right.
Yeah. And he had gone about among the people, preaching to them that which he termed to be the word of God, bearing down against the church, declaring unto the people that every priest and teacher ought to become popular, and they ought not to labor with their hands, but that they ought to be supported by the people.
All right,
And
this
Nice.
is a marker of this is an anti right here. This is an evil person, because they are saying, "Oh, no. The people should pay the priests for running the congregations. No, the priests should be paid by the people." This is the most horrifying thing in this entire Book of Mormon is priests getting compensated.
And he also testified unto the people that all mankind should be saved at the last day, and that
Nice.
they need not fear nor tremble, but that they might lift up their heads and rejoice. For the Lord had created all men, and had also redeemed all men. And in the end, all men should have eternal life. And it came to pass that he did teach these things so much that many did believe in his words, even so many that they began to support him and give him money.
Jackpot.
And and he began to be lifted up in the pride of his heart and to wear very costly apparel. Yeah, and
Yay.
even began to establish a church after the manner of his preaching. And it
I
came to
believe he
pass.
bought some private jets as well. It's not in there, but I'm
We
pretty
need
sure
to
that's
fund
the
a
case.
4th
Mhm.
Cessna. It's the only
Yeah.
way to spread the word of God.
That's right.
Well, I mean, I mean, I can't remember if that's Creflo Dollar or if that's
Yes.
okay.
And
So many
and,
of them, right?
yeah, and the other guy, the guy who looks just totally
That was
crazy.
Kenneth
and insane.
Copeland.
Kenneth Copeland too. Yeah.
Kenneth
Peter
Copeland.
Popoff is another one that is super into aircraft.
COVID.
But so like Mormonism has its own story of that. What's the name of the guy that owns the shopping malls and all the car dealerships in Utah?
Larry H. Miller.
Larry H. Miller. Yeah, the story within Mormonism is Larry H. Miller actually basically tithed a private jet to the general authorities, and he said, "You can only have this jet if you allow me to pay for the fuel." And they said, "Okay, twist
Wow.
our arm about that," and that's how the general authorities got their own private jet.
He's behind the
Mm.
Joseph Smith papers publications as well. That's the
Is
reason
he?
that was funded. Yeah, that's why that was funded.
No
Yeah.
way. I wonder if
cool.
he's the guy who footed the bill for the printer's manuscript of the Book of Mormon.
Possibly. I mean, he was dead by that point, but
Was he?
it could have been his
what are the-
family and stuff.
Yeah, it might have been the fountain.
What are the Joseph Smith papers? I'm clueless.
They've republished all of the early works of Joseph Smith, so the original printer's manuscript. Go ahead, Bryce. There's like
Yeah.
Wow.
a whole bunch of
So
stuff,
it
documents.
was a project that was started back in the 1980s, actually, well, the late 70s. They wanted to publish all of the journals of Joseph Smith, and Boyd K. Packer and a couple of other, more conservatives decided to put the kibosh on the project. But it was revived in like 2005 or something like that as the Joseph Smith Papers Project, where they began with publishing his journals as well as many documents as they could that were attached to Joseph Smith, including all of the original manuscripts of all the revelations that he gave that were never published. Which are fascinating to me.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And then basically any document that ever has anything associated with Joseph Smith, that's everything from revelations to land deeds to him sending a receipt for buying something. Everything that is ever touched by Joseph Smith or the early Mormon movement, it is all posted up online in the Joseph Smith Papers and in book format in God, I mean, it's like 3 separate volumes worth of books. So it's a huge boon to the community of Mormon history because it just makes it publicly available so many source documents, and I use it so much for my research all the time. But I did not know that it was not funded by the church itself.
They even transcribed all the written text and everything.
Yeah.
It's awesome because you'll have facsimiles with the actual written text and then the transcribed piece right next to it.
Wow.
I gotta read
And then for a bunch
comments.
of the documents, they do a historical introduction as well, so you can understand the context of what the document is, and then they have a footnoted of it that references to other documents or talks about like when a person is named, they will hyperlink that person's name, which takes you to the biography page, which shows all of the other documents that are attached to that person. It's a huge scholarly work. It's the best thing the church has ever done in all of its history.
Wow.
Got to read a couple more
Thanks,
comments.
Larry.
Mormon Skeptic, a moment ago, he said that there was a movie version of the first book of Nephi released in 2003 that was grade A shit. He put in a follow-up note that says, the Book of Mormon movie, Volume 1, The Journey.
It's the only one. Volume 1. Don't title it Volume 1 when you don't have funding for the rest.
It's bad, too. It's bad.
Oh, man. I got to
And
see
then
it.
Jesper Gridegard says, it is a beautiful snake. What kind is it? This is a Blair's morph, Sanderson, Texas locality, gray-banded king snake.
Beautiful.
Anyway, and back to our regularly scheduled program.
Yes. I already. Peter, did you enter it came to pass? I think I did say came to pass. Did you enter it? Just
That was the last thing you
double.
said, so that's where I counted it. So
Okay, so I'll continue from after it. As he was going to preach to those who believed in his word, he met a man who belonged to the Church of God. Yeah, even one of their teachers. And he began to contend with him sharply that he might lead away the people of the church. But the man withstood him, admonishing him with the words of God. Now the name of the man was Gideon, and it was he who was an instrument in the hands of God in delivering the people of Limhi out of bondage. Now, because Gideon withstood him with the words of God, he was wroth with Gideon and drew his sword and began to smite him. Now, Gideon being stricken with many years, therefore he was not able to withstand his blows. Therefore he was slain by the sword. And the man who slew him was
He was
taken
just standing
by
his ground. He was just standing his ground. It's okay.
So just so I could understand, when somebody starts smiting you with a sword, then you will have no defenses if you've been stricken by many years. I wonder how old you have to be to still be impervious to a sword blade.
And the man who slew him was taken by the people of the church and was brought before Alma to be judged according to the crimes which he had committed.
All
And
right,
it
so
came
we
to
we
pass-
have a new government structure. Let's put it to the test. We have two dudes arguing about the existence of God and how to run a church.
And can
they
I
go
just
down
say-
to fisticuffs and a guy dies, and now we are testing the
Thunderdome. Thunderdome.
And think of all the rolling papers that people are missing out with the Gideon Bibles missing in the bottom drawer of all those hotel rooms.
That's right.
Horrible.
Rocky Raccoon. Sorry. I referenced another song before. So I tend to do this.
Is that Gideon? Gideon.
Rocky Raccoon by the Beatles. Only to find Gideon's Bible.
Oh.
Yeah. Verse 11. And it came to pass that he stood before Alma and pled for himself with much boldness. But Alma said unto him, Behold, this is the first time that priestcraft has been introduced among these people.
Which isn't true, right? Oh, maybe these people, but we have had
These.
priestcraft.
Okay, I just want to make sure that I understood verse 11. And it came to pass that he stood before Alma and played with himself with much pled for himself with much boldness. Okay, never mind. Completely misheard that.
It was a mistranslation.
How do you plead boldly? Oh, sire, I'm the best. Please
Passive
Show
aggressive
mercy.
kind of thing.
Show mercy.
It helps if you're Roth. Just to be clear.
And behold, thou art not only guilty of priestcraft, but hast endeavored to enforce it by the sword. And were priestcraft to be enforced among these people, it would prove their entire destruction.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, priests being paid way too much money. Yeah, big problem. Big fucking problem.
I like
But
the way
isn't
they
he the
make
guy who killed the guy who
priestcraft
wanted
sound
to pay the
arcane.
priests?
No. So no. Gideon was the good guy who was saying you should. He was the good old guy who was fighting with. We'll find out. This is Nehor. Nehor is the bad guy, the priestcraft who built his own church. Gideon was the good old guy who was like, "Hey, you shouldn't take money, young
okay.
man." And the young man was like, "Fuck you, old man! Slice, you're dead."
And thou
Smite.
hast shed the blood of a righteous man. Yeah, a man who has done much good among these people. And were we to spare thee, his blood would come upon us as for vengeance. Therefore, thou art condemned to die, according to the law which has been given us by Mosiah, our last king. And it has been acknowledged by these people. Therefore, these people must abide by the law. And it came to pass that they took him, and his name was Nehor.
Nehor.
Dun, dun, dun.
So we have Nephi and Nehor.
You knee-whore.
Would you rather be a fi or a whore? That's the question.
Ah, but the knee-whore gets paid.
That's true.
The Neor has
Oh.
more fun.
Yeah. Fi
Okay.
him, totally.
And they carried him upon the top of the hill Manti.
Manti.
Shaken, not stabbed.
What the fuck is this?
The book finally broke to Homer.
You should know it has a
Monty.
Hebrew.
Oh, that's
A
a
Hebrew
very
link to
Jewish name. Yes.
Is it?
What? Manti's not a Jewish name?
No.
Perhaps it's Egyptian.
If you
Okay.
say it Manti, does it sound more Jewish?
Nope.
well.
Okay. Okay.
I tried.
Okay. And there he was caused, or rather did acknowledge between the heavens and the earth, that what he had taught to the people was contrary to the word of God. And there he suffered an ignominious? Yeah. Ignominious. Too much
Using
high
that.
English for me. Ignominious death. Nevertheless,
This is, by the way, this is the point at which Joseph Smith got a thesaurus. I'm sure of it.
It
So
was
let's
from
put in
hanging out with
let's
those
put in another
printers.
word. Look it up. Look it up. Who's
I'm putting this stuff in my grimoire for sure. That's so great.
who's-
Like the whole
who's
Durst thing.
Yeah. Who's transcribing at this point for him? It's not still Martin Harris, is it?
No. We don't have anything that Martin Harris transcribed.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. Those were
This,
the
I
160
think this
pages.
was John Whitmer or Oliver Cowdery, one or the other.
Okay. They had a
Never-
thesaurus. One of them
Sorry.
had a great thesaurus.
Sorry about that. Nevertheless, this did not put an end to the spreading of priestcraft through the land, for there were many who loved the vain things of the world, and they went forth preaching false doctrines.
No.
And this they did for the sake of riches and honor.
Which, by the
Nevertheless-
way, this is the most
Durst.
common, like assassination that Mormons use. Figurative assassination Mormons use against people who are like me, who are content creators or whatever, or who are even speaking out about the church. They're like, "Oh, well, you're doing it for the money, right? You're getting paid for this." It's like, well, I mean, I gotta eat, right? But like, I'm not sitting on boards and getting a living.
Not like
stipend and
making all this money either.
I'm not making seven figures like your apostles are. So, it's mote in one eye and a beam in the other.
Is when we're reading this, is everyone else thinking of Joel Osteen?
Uh-huh.
Who's in your head?
Was a little bit. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
thinking of Boyd K.
Alright.
Packer. I've seen the guy's house. It's fucking
Oh.
huge. Oh my god,
Oh,
that
really?
house is huge. Yeah, up at it's on like 27th East in Salt Lake City. It's way deep in the foothills. I think that's Highland is the smaller the city there, and it's just massive. And it's on like 6 acres or something. It's oh my
Even
God.
the worst
Is
of
he-
these guys do pretty bloody well. Like Eric Hovind has $14 million in the bank. His dad, even after Eric stole his entire empire, has already managed to reacquire $4 million.
Jesus Christ.
It's on freaking real.
I want to switch sides.
How do they do it?
That's where the money
Papa.
is.
Is Boyd
Peter
K.
Papa.
Packer still alive?
No, thank fuck. He died in
Okay.
2014, I think.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
That makes me feel a lot better. By the way, I have thought of doing. I'm sure many of us have, of doing the fake switch, and writing a book about my rejoining the believers,
Oh yeah.
and then doing a nice little tour, and then packing off to Portugal or somewhere with all my money.
Yeah,
It would
Grand
be
Cayman is
so
nice.
easy. It would be like it's so easy to lie to religious people. Like their entire everything that they seek in the world is lying to them. So it's got to be so easy to lie to them. Well, you wouldn't even have to put in that much time, and then you could just fuck off with huge barrels of money, and you're fine.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh.
The way I'd want to do it also is to tell them, just make a video up front saying I'm gonna do this,
There you
and
go.
then do it, and then tell them I said that, but I didn't realize that the Lord was going to hit me like He did, and and they'd still believe it. I know they'd still believe it.
Oh.
It's just amazing.
Was it Sri Kumari? Was that the documentary the Vice did a while back of a guru doing that thing?
Yeah, that was so good.
That was so good.
I don't think that was the name of it, but yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Huh, I have to look for that.
Okay, let's continue.
right.
Nevertheless, they Fred durst not lie, if it were known, for fear of the law, for liars were punished. Therefore, they pretended to preach according to their belief, and now the law could have no power on any man for his belief. And they Fred durst not steal for fear of the law.
Durst was the best.
For such were punished. Neither Fred durst they rob nor murder.
He
For
did it all for the cookie.
Yeah. for,
To start a riot.
for he that murdered was punished unto death. But it came to pass that whosoever did not belong to the church of God began to persecute those that did belong to the church of God, and had taken upon them the name of Christ. Yeah, they did persecute
Yay.
them and afflict them with all manner of words, and this because of their humility, because they were not proud in their own eyes, and because they did impart the word of God one with another without money and without price. Now
Because it's
there was
worthless.
now there was a strict law among the people of the church, that there should not any man belonging to the church arise and persecute those that did not belong to the church, and that there should be no persecution among themselves.
Do you want sex
Never-
scandals? Because that's how you get sex scandals.
Nevertheless, there were many among them who began to be proud, and began to contend warmly with their adversaries, even unto blows.
Oh my.
Contending warmly to blows.
Jimmy would have loved
Even
this.
unto blows.
Yeah, they would smite one another with their fists. I think they will do that. Yes.
Fisting as well.
I-
Yeah, go straight with a fist. Yeah, careful.
Uh,
Gotta exercise
now,
caution.
now this was in the second year of the reign of Alma.
I love this. This is the second year. Things are going great. We've already had to put a guy to death. Everybody's fighting. No, we're great. Reign of
And it
judges.
was-
Yay.
And it was a cause of much affliction to the church. Yeah, it was
Yay.
the cause of much
Yay.
trial with the church. For the hearts of many were hardened, and their names were blotted out, that they were remembered no more among the people of God. And also
That's
many
good.
withdrew themselves from among them. Now this was a great trial to those that did stand fast in the faith. Nevertheless, they were steadfast and immovable in keeping the commandments of God, and they bore with patience the persecution which was heaped upon them. And when the priests left their labor to impart the word of God unto the people also left their labors to hear the word of God. And when the priest had impart unto them the word of God, they all returned again diligently unto their labors. And the priest, not esteeming himself above his hearers, for the preacher was no better than the hearer, neither was the teacher any better than the learner. And thus they were all equal, and they did not labor, every man according to his strength. And they did impart of their substance, every man according to that which he had, to the poor and the needy, and the sick, and the afflicted. And
Commies!
they did not,
Have
and they
on
did
the
not
fan,
wear,
Tommy.
and they did not wear costly apparel, yet they were neat and comely. And thus,
The calmly commies.
I'm thinking of an,
I saw them
thinking
in
of an-
concert in 92.
I'm thinking of another song. Oh, come. That's a Neutral Milk Hotel, yeah. And thus they did establish the affairs of the church, and thus they began to have continual peace again, notwithstanding all their persecutions.
Yeah, never mind all of that.
Yeah, never mind that.
If you discount all the violence, there was no violence.
I'm going to throw in
Uh,
another comment here. Eric Featherstone, new member, offers $5 and says, Bryce, this is my tithing in support of the beginning of your most holy and honest ministry.
I will take that from Aaron at some point.
and now, because of the steadiness of the church, they began to be exceedingly rich, having abundance of all things whatsoever they stood in need, an abundance of flocks and herds and fatlings of every kind, and also abundance of grain and of gold and of silver and of precious things, and abundance of milk and of silk and fine twisted linen, all manner of good homely cloth.
Yes,
And
silver and gold and precious things and silk and fine twined linen
That's
oh,
maize
oh,
silk.
in
that's
Native
not twisted.
America.
It's
That's not
maize
twisted.
yeah.
silk.
Oh, yeah.
Because I said twisted because I remembered the tabernacle in Exodus because it says fine twisted linen. So I thought it was referring to this.
There you go. Good stuff.
Shouldn't they have tabernacles? If God is coming and talking to these guys and spreading them the same word, shouldn't there have been like an Exodus moment where he's like, this is how you build a tabernacle. This is the only appropriate place to worship, kind of thing, you know?
Well,
It's
we
weird
did
that
have a
they don't have
temple.
that.
We did have a temple built, and the implication is that they have the brass plates, which is understood to be at least a Septuagint. So they would have the instructions to build a tabernacle, and that I think of what a Mormon would say is that the temple that they built. Which city was it in? Was it in Zarahemla? I can't remember. Whichever city that they built a temple, that was their tabernacle.
Oh no, seems pretty sus.
And thus, in the prosperous circumstances, they did not send away any who were naked, or that were hungry, or that were athirst, or that were sick, or that had not been nourished, and they did not set their hearts upon riches. Therefore, they were liberal to all, all. I should have said they were libtards to all. Never mind. Both old and young, both bond and free, both male and female, whether out of the church or in the church, having no respect to persons as to those who stood in need.
They need to show some respect.
All right, so this is something that I want to apply to the modern church, because right here it says that this church was so abundant in its goods because they were not paying their priests and all of the people were contributing according to their circumstances, that the church began to grow extremely wealthy, and they had gotten to the point where they had an abundance of everything, and it didn't matter. Anybody who walked in needing something, the church gave that to them.
It's
The church-
frustrating because they could literally change this tomorrow. It's like Bill Bagley said to me, if you need a revelation, then have the goddamn revelation.
Yeah.
You know, it's
yeah,
ridiculous.
Exactly. It's fucking so frustrating because like when the church's welfare system, the church has entire like granaries and cattle farms and orchards, and the church is a self-sufficient staples machine. It has so much stuff that people need, and if you go to the church asking for help, you get shaken down. They make sure that if you are in dire straits and you are seeking welfare from the church, they will make sure that you are paying tithing before you get anything that comes out of the bishop's storehouse. And more importantly, like when people go, if this happens most often with women who are getting divorced, during the divorce, when a personal friend, when she was going through a divorce, she applied to the bishop asking for help, asking for food, so her 3 kids didn't starve while they were going through a divorce in an extremely abusive relationship. And the church sent people over to look through her cabinets and make sure that she didn't have any food before they would actually give her some food. Like it is so extortative, it's so exploitative, it is so craven and cynical how the modern church operates. And it's like,
And
they
I don't
have,
know if you've
they have
seen
the
that
revelation
too.
right here. They could operate by the text of their own fucking book and be a good institution.
And it's Deseret Industries macaroni and cheese and stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Mormon skeptic offers a comment, says early in the Book of Mormon, Nephi builds a temple like unto Solomon's.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Which I don't think Solomon's temple was in the Septuagint, right?
I don't know. I haven't
Yep.
gone
Please
into
tell
that
us
part.
simple
I
to
did
them.
not get to that part.
Somewhere.
Is
Wait,
that
wait,
Judges that
I don't
comes in?
know. Wait a couple of years, then I'll get your answer.
Okay, fair.
Okay, I'll continue. And thus they did prosper and become far more wealthy than those who did not belong to their church. For those who did not belong to their church did indulge themselves in sorceries and in idolatry
Nice.
or
Ooh.
idleness and in babblings and in envying and strife, wearing costly apparel, being lifted up in the pride of their own eyes, persecuting, lying, thieving, robbing, committing whoredoms and murders and all manner of wickedness. Nevertheless, the law was put in force upon all those who did transgress it, inasmuch as it was possible.
I wish I could have seen your face acting that out, Tomer.
The Oscar
Can-
goes to.
Can I
And whoredoms!
can I just apologize for my reading? He should have been reading the whole time. Tomer should have been reading this whole time. I have so been upstaged. I can't even believe it. It's just ridiculous.
Uh,
I'm glad
and
I
it
didn't
ca-
have to follow.
And it came to pass that by thus exercising the law upon them, every man suffering according to that which he had done, they became more still, and Fred durst not commit any wickedness if it were known. Therefore, there was much peace among the people of Nephi until the fifth year of the reign of the judges.
Oh, so they
I'm
got
going to have
5
to
years of
find a
peace.
way
So
to
the
use
people of
durst
Nephi.
in a sentence.
Durst you dare?
Yeah, there's all kinds of words I want to start. I want to start using. Yeah, just a lot of words I want to start using.
I can continue to Alma too if you want to read it.
All right, why not?
Yeah.
Y'all complain, oh, this book sucks. So I'll read it for you. Lazy people.
Lazy people. I see what you did
Lazy
there, Tomer.
people, yeah. I'm not
I'm looking
not
forward
chingy.
soon to committing some whoredoms.
And sorcery.
And some
Okay.
sorcery, yeah. But whoredoms more than sorcery, I gotta be honest.
I mean, I got an 8 o'clock idling that I got to get to, so speed this
Yeah.
up.
I did a lot of idleness yesterday. It was amazing.
I see another comment. For
Bad on a
please
mission.
read it first. Yeah.
Okay, the Raven 200 offers $10 and says, and it came to pass that I, Alma, did spake unto thee. My name is
Yoshikage Kira.
Kira.
Yoshikage Kira. It's a JoJo Bizarre Adventure.
Okay. I'm 33 years old. My house is in the northwest section of Moria. Oh, no, wait. That's JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Crap.
Yeah.
Okay.
Raven, you're terrible at this. It's the wrong book again.
Okay. Alma 2. And it came to pass in the commencement. My English fucking sucks. Sorry.
Oh, you did that
Commencement.
word
And
better
it
than
came to
most
pass in the
Americans.
commencement of the 5th year of
Wait,
their
wait, I
reign,
can
there
read
began to be a
Aaron.
contention among the people for a certain man being called Amlisi.
It's Amalekai.
Funny.
All right.
I like
It's way
NBC.
better. Aaron, thank you
Amliki.
for interrupting. I can read English. There's some difficult words, but I can manage. Of the
But
fifth
can you read
year.
Reformed Egyptian? That's the
Yeah.
question.
of the reign there began to be a contention among the people for a certain man being called Amlikai. He being a very cunning man,
Oh my.
Yeah. a
Yeah.
wise man
Is he a
as to
linguist?
the world, as to the wisdom of the world. He being after the order of the man that slew Gideon by the sword, who was executed according to the law. Now this Amlikai had, by his cunning, drawn away much people after him, even so much that they began to be very powerful, and they began to endeavor to establish Amlikai to be a king over
What?
the people.
What did they expect? You created a martyr out of Nihor, so of course somebody is going to step in and fill the power vacuum. And now you've turned them into righteous soldiers. That's what happens when you execute people.
It's almost like their lead prophet was shot in the face or something, and all the other people decided that his word was divine and should continue on, or I don't know. That never happens.
It is interesting to wonder where Mormonism would be today if they didn't have a martyred prophet.
Yeah, very big question.
Now this was alarming to the people of the church, and also to all those who had not been drawn away after the persuasions of Amlikai, for they knew that according to their law, that such things must be established by the voice of the people. Therefore, if it were possible that Amlikai should gain the voice of the people, he, being a wicked man, would deprive them of the rights and privileges of the church, for it was his intent to destroy the church of God. And it came to pass that the people assembled themselves together throughout all the land, every man according to his mind, whether it were for or against Amlikai, in separate bodies, having much dispute and wonderful contentions one with another. And thus they did assemble themselves together to cast in their voices concerning the matter, and they were laid before the judges. And it came to pass that the voice of the people came against Amlikai, that he was not made king over the people.
But it was a fake election. It was stolen. We have to storm the cap. No, wait, sorry, wrong.
Stop the
book.
steal.
Now this did cause much joy in the hearts of those who were against him, but Amlikai did stir up those who were in his favor to anger against those who were not in his favor. And it came to pass that they gathered themselves together and did consecrate Amlikai to be their king. Now when Amlikai was made king over them...
That's what we call an insurrection.
Now when Amlikai was made king over them, he commanded them that they should take up arms against their brethren. And this he did, that he might subject them to him. Now the people of Amlikai were distinguished by the name of Amlikai, being called Amlikites. And
I'm laughing here because when I'm reading the original manuscript, we have Amlikai spelled as it is in the original, or as it is in the modern text, but Amlikites is spelled with a K, and they had to make the edits for the modern one. It's the stupidest typo, but it just cracked me up. I don't know why. It's just so stupid.
Well, in Reformed Egyptian, when it's plural, then I use
it's a K instead.
A hard K. Yeah, they use a hard K.
All right. I appreciate that.
And the remainder were called Nephites, or the people of God. Therefore, the people of the Nephites were aware of the intent of the Amalekites, and therefore they did prepare to meet them. Yeah, they did arm themselves with swords and with scimitars, and with bows and with arrows, and with stones, and with slings, and with all manner of weapons of war, including nuclear weapons of every kind. And
including nuclear weapons of every kind. I'm sure it said that in the original text.
Weapons of every kind would include nuclear weapons, right?
All manner of weapons of war. Is a nuclear bomb not a weapon of war?
Well, I get it.
Well, and look, I mean, we have one anachronism of scimitars. Why not have another anachronism in there?
Well,
we're just playing.
Let's look at the scimitars.
That would be an
you have
impressive one.
swords and you have scimitars. Anybody see the problem with that?
I'm not entirely sure that's what that means. I've never seen scimitar spelled that way.
Yeah, that's true.
This is a unique weapon.
Yeah, in the Book of Mormon, the term scimitar in CIM is used often to describe a weapon of war. According
What
to
is a
Wikipedia.
scimitar? Because
That's a
he's right.
that's a
That's not a
centimeter. And I think
scimitar.
they use that Don't they use that in Scientology to check your feet? Psi meter?
It's a psi meter.
Psi meter, I believe.
It's
I'm pretty sure.
Wikipedia says that it is a large curved butcher's knife with a blade typically 8 to 14 inches or 20 to 35 centimeters for the European people long.
And Wish.com has them available for $12.99.
Very good. and thus,
Authentic Nephite scimitars. Psi meters, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Psi meters, yeah.
And here's
And
an article that says, "Why does the Book of Mormon mention scimitars?" The scimitar or scimitar, right? So they're the same thing. The
This Book of
scimitar and
Mormon
the scimitar
Central?
are the same thing.
Are you on Book
A
of Mormon
curved
Central?
sword with the cutting edge usually on the outer side.
Aaron, is that Book of Mormon Central?
yes,
It
it is.
Yep. That is the leading apologetic site for a historical Book of Mormon.
Awesome.
Yep.
Answers in Genesis for Mormonism.
It's exactly it. Yes, precisely.
Okay, I'll continue. And thus they were prepared to meet the Amalekites at the time of their coming. And there were appointed captains and higher captains and chief captains according to their numbers.
It's almost like you should like have different words for them, you know,
Yeah, like ranks or something. I don't know.
ranks, you know, like general, sergeant, yeah,
And
whatever.
captain.
We got.
Supreme captains.
Are you a captain or a super captain?
I'm an ultra captain.
And it came to pass that Amalekite did arm his men with all manner of weapons of war of every kind.
every kind.
And he also appointed rulers and leaders over his people to lead them to war against their brethren. And it came to pass that the Amalekites came upon the hill Amnihu, which was east of the river Sidon, which ran by the land of Zarahemla. And there they began to make war with the Nephites. Now Alma, being the chief judge and the governor of the people of Nephi, therefore he went up with his people, with his captains and chief captains,
Captain.
at the head of his armies against the Amalekites to battle. And they
Why
began-
would a king, chief judge, and a leader of the church be at the head of his armies in a battle?
'Cause
Why
God will
would you
protect
do
him,
that?
of course.
Because he had his garments on,
He has plot armor.
wearing his G's.
That's right.
Well,
They
to
never
be fair,
mentioned the
many-
slightly higher captains. Why is
Yeah.
that not mentioned?
Wait a minute. At the head, yeah, he was at the. I mean, in antiquities, like the kings were at the head of the armies, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
until the battle broke out, and then they would fall back into the ranks, and they would orchestrate the tactics, the actual strategy of the battlefield.
Yeah.
No, that's not what this is saying.
By
And
the
they
way, I would
began
have gone.
to-
I would have gone with Captain, Captain Pro, Captain Max, Captain Ultra. But I'm an
Oh,
Apple
wow.
guy. I'm just saying.
What about Captain
That's
Marvel,
how I
though?
would have done it. Yeah.
Yeah, Captain Marvel.
and they began to slay the Amalekites upon the hill east of Sidon. And the Amalekites did contend with the Nephites with great strength, insomuch that many of the Nephites, that many of the Nephites did fall before the Amalekites. Nevertheless, the Lord did strengthen the hand of the Nephites, that they slew the Amalekites with great slaughter, that they began to flee before them. And it came to pass that the Nephites did pursue the Amalekites all that day, and did slay them with much slaughter, insomuch that there
Great
was
slaughter, guys. Great slaughter. Great slaughter. Great slaughter.
insomuch that there were slain of the Amalekites 12,532 souls, and there were slain of the Nephites 6,562 souls. And it came to pass that when Alma could pursue the Amalekites no longer, he caused that his people should pitch their tents in
Oh
the valley
my.
of Gideon, the valley being called after that Gideon who was slain by the hand of Nehor with the sword. And in this valley, the Nephites did pitch their tents for the night.
So they
Ew.
were
And-
excited by the battle.
All night
And-
long too. See a doctor, y'all.
Yeah.
And Alma sent spies to follow the remnant of the Amalekites that he might know of their plans and their plots, whereby he might guard himself against them, that he might preserve his people from being destroyed. Now those whom he had sent out to watch the camp of the Amalekites were called Zeram and Amnor and Manti and Limher.
Lemur.
Jewish
Oh,
names,
my
right?
Jesus
Right.
Jewish.
Yes, it's Jewish names. Oh, I know my friend Amnor and Limher from anywhere.
You and Manti are old chums there,
Manti,
Tomer?
yes. Good old Manti. These were they who went out
Oh, good
with their
kids! It's
men.
Uncle Amnor.
Didn't Manti Hall do the Price is Right or one of those game shows? Manti
Oh.
Hall.
There's also a
Yeah,
Monty
sure.
Hall problem in mathematics, but that's it.
Oh, is there?
Monty. Yeah. These
Yes.
were they who
Mm.
went out with their men to watch the camp of the Amalekites. And it came to pass that on the morrow they returned into the camp of the Nephites in great haste, being greatly astonished and struck with much fear, saying, Behold, we followed the camp of the Amalekites, and to our great astonishment in the land of Minon, above the land of Zarahemla, in the course of the land of Nephi, we saw a numerous host of the Lamanites, and behold, the Amalekites have joined them,
Nice.
Shock. Plot twist.
and and they are upon our brethren in that land, and they are fleeing before them with their flocks and their wives and their children towards our city. And except we make haste, they obtain possession of our city, and our fathers and our wives and our children to be slain. And it came to pass that the people of Nephi took their tents and departed out of the valley of Gideon towards the city, which was the city of Zarahemla.
In
I'm
case
sorry.
you forgot.
All right. So just to be clear, Alma, who is this chief judge, king sort of, but by a different name, leader of the church, holy prophet, person with all the authority to baptize and everything, he left the capital city completely undefended, and then just realized, oh shit, one of the groups of enemies that we chased out of our city, who are just believing in a different church than we are now aligning themselves with our sworn avowed generational enemies, the Lamanites, and our big city is undefended. Fucked up, Aaron. So they are headed back to Zarahemla.
Yep.
Hey,
Yep. Shocked
Hey,
that big aggressive empire that
Foreign.
completely surrounds their kingdom is still out there. And remember, the last time they faced these guys, their strategy was to surrender immediately.
Yep. It's gonna go great. It's gonna go great. That's awesome.
You are the crack suicide squad.
Do you want to read the
Eric
comment?
Featherstone says he wants to put in a clarification. King S's temple is in First Kings and Second Chronicles,
Okay, that is not in the
then-
Septuagint. King Solomon's
Yeah.
temple.
and then Eric Featherstone offers $5 and says, "And it came to pass that I, Captain Nephi, didst spake, for behold, I canst do this all day." And then JC offers $2 and says, "Yes, I agree with what I don't know because it took too long before I got to it."
We are in 26. No, we're in 27,
Okay.
sorry. And behold, as they were crossing the river Sidon, the Lamanites and the Amalekites, being as numerous almost as it were as the sands of the sea, came upon them to destroy them.
That's a lot. I don't think so.
Not the sands of the beaches, the sands of the sea. The fuck are they talking about?
Well,
lot of
you
people.
know that sea also have sand. It's in the bottom.
I guess
This actually
sure.
proves that they had divine knowledge because they knew that the sea had sand.
Good point. Good point.
Tomer, a neo-Mormon apologist for the book of Mormon. Thank you.
I thought I was the only apologist on the show. Thank you.
Yeah, expect to get an
Yeah.
email from Book of Mormon Central with a job application here pretty soon.
Nevertheless, the Nephites being strengthened by the hand of the Lord, having prayed mightily to him that he would deliver them out of the hands of their enemies. Therefore, the Lord did hear their cries and did strengthen them, and the Lamanites and the Amalekites did fall before them. And it came to pass that Alma fought with Amalekai with
Holy
the
shit.
sword, face to face. Amazing what's fine
Nice.
first face? Sorry. And they did contend mightily one with another. And it came to pass that Alma, being a man of God, being exercised with much faith, cried, saying, O Lord, have mercy and spare my life, that I may be an instrument in thy hands to save and preserve the people. Now, when Alma had said these words, he contended again with Amalekai, and he was strengthened insomuch that he slew Amalekai with the sword.
Thanks,
Good
Jesus.
enough.
Thanks for giving me that second win so I could best my enemy in battle.
They had to
Well,
pause
he
this
prayed.
epic sword fight to fucking pray.
Yeah.
Like, hold
That's
on,
right.
hold on.
Yeah,
I have to
yeah.
have a chat with the big guy.
He
It
prayed.
looks better on the
mightily.
storyboard.
How do you pray mightily?
I guess what was the
You
phrase
pleading
earlier?
boldly.
Yeah, there you go.
And he also contended with the king of the Lamanites. But the king of the Lamanites fled back from before Alma and sent his guards to contend with Alma.
He was
But
smart. Like I get, like, okay, so a king fighting a king is something that almost never happened. When they did happen, they were usually ceremonials, and sometimes it was like representative so that the actual armies didn't have to fight each other. It was but almost always in those cases it was the king would send out their best fighters. They would send out one of the best fighters from each of the armies who would fight, and then whoever won that fight, the army won that fight. It was a much less costly way of doing battle. But to have it actually play out, a king fighting a king, what were their soldiers doing? Were they just standing around and
They were watching. They're
this?
like, yeah, it was like a giant cockfight. Man.
They were placing bets.
There you go.
Okay. But Alma with his guards contended with the guards of the king of the Lamanites until he slew and drove them
I
back.
love that. So the king of the Lamanites is like, "Go get him, boys!" And Alma is like, "I'll kill every one of you little shits," and knocks them all. It's a superhero movie, right? This
He
isn't
is
real.
Captain Nephi.
And thus he cleared the ground, or rather the bank, which was on the west of the river Sidon, throwing the bodies of the Lamanites who had been slain into the waters of Sidon, that thereby his people might have room to cross and contend with the Lamanites and the Amalekites on the west side of the river Sidon.
So we finally have a reference to the West Bank.
I mean, they could have built a bridge out of whatever.
A literal body bridge.
They did. It says
Yeah.
the room to cross over the bodies they threw over.
Yeah, so to be clear, the Lamanites fled across the river Sidon, and the Nephites who were chasing them are like, we don't want to get our feet wet. We are going to murder all of you who are trying to run away so that we can construct a bridge out of your bodies and stay high and dry to continue pursuing you.
Well, they have
And
to,
those are our
because-
good guys.
Because they're the high captains and the super captains and the hyper captains.
That's right, I forgot.
Hyper captains.
Surreal captains if you go with mathematics. Yeah. No,
I call
actually,
these imaginary
it's,
captains.
It's actually hyperreal and then surreal, if I remember correctly.
Oh, okay.
And it came to pass that when they had all crossed the river Sidon, that the Lamanites and the Amalekites began to flee before them, notwithstanding they were so numerous that they could not be numbered.
What a fucking way to phrase that.
And they fled before the Nephites towards the wilderness, which was west and north. Oh, not northwest, because it's complicated. Away beyond the borders of the land. And the Nephites did pursue them with their might, and did slay them. Yeah, They
Yeah,
were
yeah.
met on every hand and slain and driven until they were scattered on the west and on the north, until they had reached the wilderness, which was called Hermount?
Her
Hair
mounts.
mounds.
Hermount. Really,
not
Her
Hermount.
mounts, her
mounts,
lovely
mounts.
lady.
What
That
are
like a
these
Dolly
names
Parton
for,
reference.
Oh, we're in
the whoredom's
Tennessee.
going on in her
I
mounts.
think that was more of a Fergie reference.
Hermount? Okay. And it was that part of the wilderness which was infested by wild and ravenous beasts.
Oh,
And it
her
came-
mounts had an infestation, did it?
Saber-toothed crotch crickets.
and, it, and it came to pass that many died in the wilderness of their wounds, and were devoured by those beasts, and also the vultures of the air. I didn't know that vultures were in the air, thank you very much. And their bones have been found, and have been heaped up on the earth.
Good guys massacred
Wow.
everybody. The good
Yeah,
guys
well,
of the story.
Had,
No
had the
mercy.
battle gone the other way, then those people would have been laminated.
And remember, just so we can really visualize what these fights looked like, we know from Second Nephi that all of the Lamanites are dark-skinned, black, evil people. And then all the Nephites are white-skinned, delightsome people. So if you're wanting to know the optics of what this looks like, well, look at literally any race riot.
Do you suppose that's why they kept delivering themselves into bondage and being like, please re-enslave me or whatever? Because the racial disparity, because this is pre-Civil War, right? So they're saying, look, the white people were enslaved to the black people back in the day, you know?
That's what this is. That's what this is saying. Yep.
The Raven
it's the
200
moral
offers $10.
justification for slavery.
The Raven 200 offers $2 or $10 and says, "I got to dip out now, but I look forward to watching the rest when uploaded. Peace out, y'all. Jimmy, go. Oh wait, Jimmy isn't here. Aaron, go get interrupted by your animals again."
The blessings of the fans.
Yeah.
Now, and I do want to make one more comment, overall comment. What we just now read was so clearly consistent with the writing style of everything before, right? Like when I made that comment when we were finishing up Mosiah, it was very clearly a different author, and then we get back to who seems to be the author of the rest of the book, and suddenly we're at 28 and it came to passes, right? Like it's
portion of it, yeah.
there's a very distinct difference in authorship here. Book of Mormon Central will say, "Oh, that's because one of them is Nephi, the other one is Alma, the other one is Mosiah."
That's because they're different people, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Guys, I gotta run.
I mean,
Okay.
So that's all the
Brian,
time I
thank
have
you
for
very
today.
much for being on.
Yeah, good to see you, Brian.
Yeah,
I
good
love
to see
your
you
shows,
guys.
man.
Been cool.
If I can just stay well and not so busy, I can do this more often.
Hell yeah.
I'll try.
Yes,
I'll give
please.
it a
Always a
shot.
pleasure to have you on.
Thanks, guys. See you later.
All right, go enjoy
Take care.
California.
Could we continue to Alma 3?
At the rate we're
Oh,
going,
why
I
the
think
hell
we
not?
could
You can burn
manage
it?
it.
I can do it. I can do it, but if another person wants
Yeah,
to,
we got 20 minutes, and this is almost 3 is
27.
Now it's only 27 verses. Fuck it. do
really,
it.
really quick comment, and this contextualizes what we're getting into. This is known as the war chapters of the Book of Mormon. So if you were bored by the stuff that we just read, brace the fuck in, because that's going to be like the next 40 to 50 chapters that we're reading is just this bullshit.
Well, that's what I was
Fun
trying
for
to say.
me.
It's fucking
Is
action
that-
movie time.
Yeah.
You really need to envision it as a storyboard.
Yeah.
Then we're gonna have a lot more action.
Okay. Let's begin. And it came to pass that the Nephites were not slain by the weapons of war after having buried those who had been slain. Now the number of the slain were not numbered because of the greatness of their number. After they had finished burying their dead, they all returned to their lands, and to their houses, and their wives, and their children. Now many women and children had been slain with the sword, and also many of their flocks and their herds, and also many of their fields of grain were destroyed, for they were trodden down by the hosts of men. And now as many of the Lamanites and the Amalekites who had been slain upon the bank of the river Sidon were cast into the waters of Sidon. And behold, their bones are in the depths of the sea, and they are many. And the Amalekites were distinguished from the Nephites, for they had marked themselves with red in their foreheads after the manner of the Lamanites. Nevertheless, they had not shown their heads like unto the Lamanites.
And real quick, that right there, that passage is the apologetic dodge. Oftentimes when people say, well, the book talks about the Lamanites are being marked with dark skin, like it says literally that they were made like unto a flint so that they would be loathsome to the righteous people. Oftentimes an apologist will point to that verse and say, oh, they that just means that the Lamanites had a red marking on their forehead. That's all that the mark means of the Lamanites. It's like, no, like,
But
you read the text, right? Second Nephi said, like unto a flint.
that is why Columbus thought he was in India, though.
Now
red
the
mark.
heads of
Because of the red marks.
Sorry,
Really?
sorry.
Perfect.
I'm very sorry. I rushed
Come
myself.
on,
Sorry.
guys.
I
got
now
the
the
good ones.
okay. Now the heads of the Lamanites were shorn, and they were naked, save it were skin which was girded about their loins, and also their armor which was girded about them, and their bows, and their arrows, and their stones, and their slings, and so forth. They didn't bother to list anything. And the
Phoned it
skins of
in.
the skins of the Lamanites were dark, according to the. Oh, sorry. Did I say it wrong? And the skins of the no, I said it wrong. And the skins of the Lamanites were dark, according to the mark which was set upon their fathers, which was a curse upon them because of their transgression and their rebellion against their brethren, who consisted of Nephi, Jacob, and Joseph, and Sam.
Damn it, Sam.
Sam wise. Why not?
Somebody's got to carry the ring.
I may not be able to carry the ring, but I can carry you.
Who were just and holy men, and their brethren sought to destroy them. Therefore, they were cursed, and the Lord God set a mark upon them. Upon Laman and Lemuel, and also the sons of Ishmael and Ishmaelitish women.
Imagine being those people. Hi, what tribe are you from? We're Ishmaelite.
Ishmaelitish.
Did you see my black skin? I'm obviously an Ishmaelite.
and this was
Well, I'm
done.
Ishmaelitish.
And this was
What did you
done.
call me?
Sorry, I'm sorry. I'm rushing again. And this was done that their seed might be distinguished from the seed of the brethren, that thereby the Lord God might preserve his people, that they might not mix and believe in incorrect traditions, which would prove their destruction.
That right there.
Whoa.
Anti-miscegenation in the Book of Mormon.
Sorry,
too.
apologists. Sorry, apologists.
Yep.
You're wrong
Just
about
in
the red
case.
mark.
Just in case Second Nephi wasn't explicit enough, we got Alma 3 being
Yeah.
like, no, the black people are the bad ones. Don't clip that. Don't clip that, all right?
No interracial marriage.
All right.
That's
But-
not holy.
That's unacceptable.
Fucking hell.
And it came to pass that whosoever did mingle his seed with that of the Lamanites did bring the same curse upon his seed. Therefore, whosoever suffered himself to be led away by the Lamanites was called under their head, and there was a mark set upon him. And it came to pass that whosoever would not believe in the tradition of the Lamanites, but believed those records which were brought out of the land of Jerusalem, and also in the tradition of their fathers, which were correct, who believed in the commandments of God and kept them, were called the Nephites, or the people of Nephi from that time forth.
It's like, hey, have you forgotten the entire story up to this point? This is a little flashback. Doodle-doo, doodle-doo.
And it
That's
is
so
they
annoying.
who have kept the records which are true of their people, and also of the people of the Lamanites. Now we will return again to the Amalekites, for they also had a mark.
This is the doodle-doo, doodle-doo coming back. Now we'll return to the Amalekites. That's literally written.
Yeah, they
Yay.
set the mark upon themselves. Yeah,
Yay.
even a mark of red upon their foreheads. Again with the red upon their foreheads. We get it. They had red upon their foreheads. Stop reiterating it. We know. Thus the word of God is fulfilled, for these are the words of which he said to Nephi. Behold, the Lamanites have I cursed, and I will set a mark on them, that they and their seed may be separated from thee and thy seed from this time henceforth and forever, except they repent of their wickedness and turn to me, that I may have mercy upon them.
So wait, is God putting the mark on them? Because the last verse said they put the mark on themselves. And if God is marking them, whether they're complying or not, why doesn't he just smite them for being wicked or whatever? Like, what the hell is going on
Expedite
here?
the process.
It's confusing because there's two marks too, so
Yeah.
that's why it says they're talking about the dark skin. Even they put a red mark on their head, and so it's like,
Eric Featherstone offers $10 and says something that strikes me now that I'm an adult is the unmentioned toll on the economy that these wars have. The Amalekites just pick up. What happened to their fields and their flocks, etc.?
Their cities.
And Eric Featherstone adds, and then the book mentions it.
And
But on the plus side, you get to pick up all the gold and ornamentation that every fucking person was carrying all the time,
That's
apparently.
right. Yeah.
And again I will set a mark upon him that mingleth his seed with thy brethren, that they might be cursed also. And again I will set a mark upon him that fighteth against thee and thy seed. And again I say, he that departeth from thee shall no more be called thy seed. And I will bless thee, and whomsoever shall be called thy seed, henceforth and forever. And these were the promises of the Lord unto Nephi and to his seed.
It's a little weird to be making promises to a person's seed, don't you think?
No king shaming here. I mean, your one person's weird is another person's happiness.
Now the Amalekites knew not that they were fulfilling the words of God when they began to mark themselves in their foreheads. Nevertheless, they had come out in open rebellion against God. Therefore, it was expedient that the curse should fall upon them. Now I would that ye should see that they brought upon themselves the curse, and even so doth every man that is cursed bring upon himself his own condemnation. Now it came to pass that not many days after the battle which was fought in the land of Zarahemla by the Lamanites and the Amalekites, that there was another army of the Lamanites came in upon the people of Nephi, in the same place where the first army met the Amalekites. And it came to pass that there was an army sent to drive them out of their land. Now Alma himself, being afflicted with a wound, did not go up to battle at this time against the Lamanites, but he sent up a numerous army against them, and they went up and slew many of the Lamanites, and drove the remainder of them out of the borders of their land. And then they returned again, and began to establish peace in the land, being troubled no more for a time with their enemies.
Being troubled no more because he murdered them all. Like
it's a good way to take care of it.
like the Lamanites came in to attack his city, and he sent out a bigger army, and it was like, no, your city is mine now. And then there was peace among all the bodies.
Yeah, when everybody's
The
dead,
good
there
guy.
tends to be peace.
This
It's-
is
it-
our
real
good
quiet.
guy.
It hurts my head in a couple of ways. First of all, we went through this huge blow-by-blow description of the first battle, and the second battle gets a mention.
Yeah.
And on top of that, we know the Lamanite Empire is huge, full of many, many armies. And one comes in and they kick their ass. Okay, fine. You know another one is going to be right behind it. They chase them out. What the fuck do these people think is going to happen? If you just sit here like turtled up with your numbers constantly diminishing and this huge aggressive empire invading you over and over, you're going to have an inevitable problem, you know?
That's a war of attrition. That's sieging without actually building up breastworks around the city to siege it. I I mean,
Yeah.
that's just slowly bleeding a city out, right? That's
Now all
I
these.
don't know about
Sorry.
these folks.
I think I saw this scene. It was in Game of Thrones. It was the Battle of the Bastards.
which battle was that? I
These-
didn't read the books. I only watched.
These
I
are
didn't-
really
it was a
Game of
difficult scene
Thrones
to
type
watch. It
scenes
was-
where it's like,
Yeah, it was one army crushing the fuck out of the other one. It was a difficult thing to difficult to watch.
Is that the one where Jon Snow is in the middle and they're all like collapsing in on him?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Okay,
Lovely.
25. Now all these things were done. Yeah.
Yay,
All these
yay.
wars and contentions were commenced and ended in the 5th year of the reign of the judges.
So far, going great. These judges are doing a great job.
Super plan.
We have so many deaths, so many casualties. We literally can't number them. Good
Thanks,
job,
judges.
judges.
And in 1 year were thousands and tens of thousands of souls sent to the eternal world, that they might reap their rewards according to their works,
Let
whether
God sort them out.
whether they were good or whether they were bad, to reap eternal happiness or eternal misery, according to the spirit which they listed to obey, whether it be a good spirit or a bad one. For every man receiveth the wages of him whom he listeth to obey, and this according to the words of the spirit of prophecy. Therefore, let it be according to the truth. And thus ended the 5th year of the reign of the judges.
No one will know. Not even you will know if we were good men or bad. All that's important is that two stood against many. Battle pleases you, Crom.
it's just so
Grant me
contradicted
one
too.
request. Grant me revenge. And if you do not listen, then to hell with you.
So you have this whole like, Adam will be punished, man will be punished for his own sins and not Adam's transgression. And it was kind of going about that, where it's like saying, well, people will be responsible whether they do good or bad deeds, unless you have a curse on you or something. You know, where do you change?
Yeah, I noticed there's an emphasis on works there, and there it pays lip service to the idea of which box you check in who to believe, but it also is about the rewards are according to your works, whether they were good or they're bad. Like it's a little confusing, and it seems to go against the broader doctrine where it's grace alone that can save you. I understand there's Christian branches where works is important, it's works and grace, but I don't know. I got the impression that Protestantism was largely grace-based. And
Well, so this book kind of planted its flag against universalism, right? So at the beginning, when we had Nehor coming in, not only was Nehor
Yeah,
being paid for being a priest, he was also
Everyone will
preaching
be
that
saved.
everybody is saved. That was universalism. So this book is definitely put universalism in its crosshairs. That's unacceptable. So with that, like universalism essentially depends on the grace of God, the grace of the atonement, that everybody is saved, everybody gets to heaven no matter what. So this book is definitely like, no, not unacceptable. You can believe in the wrong church and you are going to hell because, well, the Nephites, and Alma are going to come and murder you, and then God is going to sort you out.
awesome.
And I also want to point out something that like maybe bears mentioning. Throughout all of this, we have this written from the perspective of the Nephites. It's said that we have the history of the Lamanites in here, but we don't get to read the history of any of the Lamanites. This is all about the Nephites. So the Nephites have the righteous, holy, right, true church. The Lamanites have the false, evil, non-church, and then Amaleki or Nehor or any of these other antichrists come along and they create churches as well. How do the people know which one is right and which one is wrong? From
Which one's dark?
Well, so they had the litmus test back then. If they started believing, or as the book said, if they started listing towards the wrong religion, then their skin would start to turn black. That seems like a pretty easy indicator. That seems like a test the heuristic that you can understand what if you're believing in the right or wrong religion. But at the end of the day, what we have here is the reign of judges here and their theocracy mass murdering everybody who opposes them, either ideologically or makes more money than them even. And then they're the good guys because they have white skin while they're doing their mass murder.
Eric Featherstone says
Scriptures.
the Lamanites, being evil, aren't a coherent empire. Thus, the king can't just say, all right, let's get them. He's got to convince each army to fight in turn.
Sure. I mean, makes sense. Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know if we've got any more of this, but I'm beginning to see why Bryce dreaded getting into Alma.
I enjoy this. I don't know what about you.
Yeah, it actually seems pretty fun.
You don't like blood and gore, Aaron? What's wrong with you?
Well, it's one thing to watch an action sequence, but it's like, and then thousands of men died, and then they went out and killed thousands more men, and then the next day they killed thousands more men, and then the next day they killed thousands more. I mean,
That's what these CGI action films look like now. It's like, oh, whoa, they just barely missed the dangerous spot. Blah, blah, blah. Very, very, very. It's like, that's how boring, like, pop culture films are to me.
Yeah.
It's the same crap, really.
And that's the next 9 months that we have of reading this book. That's
with
that, like,
Toner
that is
superpowers
what is ahead of us. Yeah.
How
Toner
fast could
superpowers we
these
may be able to
people-
speed through.
how fast could these people reproduce? How
Right?
many were they? How many were in the original boats? Right, because all of these
Two
are the same-
families.
Yeah. So how many? You have
Yeah.
two families, and then they produced like 1 billion people.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
have to have at least 5 to 20 kids each person at least.
Per year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been one generation since a couple hundred people fled to Zarahemla, and now they're taking thousands of losses, and their army's still good to go.
Even tens of thousands of losses.
Indeed.
And there are still more people to fight.
All right.
They were among the other inhabitants of the. They were among the other inhabitants of America.
I mean, maybe I'll join for next week as well.
Please do.
looks fun.
Somebody has to keep us on task and actually get us through this. Because the sooner we can get through Alma, the sooner we can get to actually Jesus showing up, and that's when some interesting things.
it's so
actually
good.
Ah, that's the boring stuff. Come on.
Khmer, if you want
In
to
this book, it's
join
actually
next
really
week,
interesting.
Khmer, if you want to join next week, we need to talk, because before you joined, we only had one It Came to Pass. It was so easy for me because I had nothing to do, and then you came in and started
See what you
reading,
did, Tomer.
and now we're on 33.
Well, yeah, suffer more.
Peter doth protest too much.
Okay, so next week, Alma 4. All right.
Fun stuff. Yeah.
Everybody, and it's been fun. It's been fun.
Yes.